Hi, this is Marjorie, and we're going to be talking today with David about Black Bag. What was the first scene that you wrote, and what kind of inspired you to write that scene?
I had the idea for the script about 30 years ago, so I really sat on this one for a while. And it was because I was researching another movie that had spies in it, and I was talking to someone who had been with the CIA, and she was talking about how difficult dating was for her, and that she couldn't trust anybody, and they didn't trust her because they could all lie about things and claim this goes in the black bag, we can't talk about it. So that was that sat in my head for a long time, and I wanted to write a story about a marriage. And then the idea that got me really want to start typing it was writing a dinner party. I wanted to write a long, overlong dinner party sequence that would open a movie and introduce 6 characters, any one of whom could be, whodunit, and see how long I could stay at the table and sort of break all the rules of screenwriting, which say movies move, right? Now this one doesn't. For the first 12 minutes, we're going to sit at a table and listen to people. And so that was the first thing I dove into.
So from the original draft to the final draft, how many versions were there?
I would say probably 7 or 8, which is not very many. I wrote it on spec, and had 30 years to think about it. So the nice thing about writing on spec is that you sort out a lot of your ugly creative issues privately, and I do 2 or 3 drafts, but slowly, before anybody reads it, and I get any input from anybody. So hopefully, if I've done it well, I've solved a lot of the problems in private and without any pressure or anybody looking over my shoulder. And then the first and only person I gave it to direct was Steven Soderbergh, and that was our 3rd movie together in a few years. And Steven's a very decisive guy, and he said, "I want to do this." And he had a few small notes, and I said, "Is that it?" And he said, "Yeah, because I want to do this." And what writer could possibly object to that? So we had a couple more drafts as actors came in, and the locations would come or not. But it's close to the first thing I wrote, having had thought about it for several decades.
Wonderful. And so what crimes do you think you committed in your past lives to have become a screenwriter?
Well, first of all, if I knew, I would never tell you, and certainly not on camera. The things that are difficult about screenwriting are also some of the things that I love most about it. The amount of time you spend alone is actually something I love. My absolute favorite time is in the office by myself, talking to myself, trying to figure it out. I love it, making up a world and getting to exist in it. Whatever I did in a past life, what I'm atoning for it by the sheer number of collaborators that a screenwriter is faced with. Because after about the 3rd draft, you have to say a little goodbye to the script as you saw it in your head. Because now half your job will be writing and half your job will be negotiating with studios, a director, producers, actors, all the nature, daylight, all the forces that will conspire against you to do something other than what you meant. But I don't know that my crimes were so horrible, because that's just nature.
That's true. So for all those frustrated screenwriters out there, what's the best piece of advice you've ever gotten, and what's the best piece of advice you'd give them?
The best advice I heard, this is something I read, it was Stephen King, who's I adore, and who is a great writer, obviously, who said, when it's flowing, write. When you're stuck, read. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Read both books, but also watch movies. When you're stuck, watch other things for inspiration. And when it's going, don't stop. Don't take days off. If I'm in a draft and the draft is going well, I can't take a day off. My head has to stay in it. The big wheel is so hard to get turning that once it's turning, you don't dare fuck with it.
And that's great advice. Well, congratulations, and we look forward to hearing more on the panel.
Thank you.